Yeah, and this is where the stakes become very concrete. According to the Asian African Legal Consultative Organization's 2025 brief on legal issues in outer space, estimates from early 2025 indicate more than 30,000 artificial objects larger than 10 centimeters and approximately 1 million objects larger than 1 centimeter are currently in orbit.
1 million objects.
1 million. And these aren't just floating harmlessly, they're traveling at hypervelocities. The AALCO brief describes the risk of a cascading collision scenario called the Kessler syndrome, which could render certain orbital regions completely unusable.
So we're talking about potentially locking humanity out of parts of space because of debris. That's the scenario. And this is exactly why SpaceLeaf's principle of global stewardship, built for the betterment of all mankind, not for profit or exploitation, isn't just philosophical. It's a direct response to a real and escalating problem.
And the regulatory environment is trying to catch up, right? Like the FCC updated orbital debris mitigation requirements in 2022.
Right. According to Space Nexus, the FCC updated its orbital debris mitigation requirements in 2022, and the FAA modernized its launch licensing rules in 2021. The Commerce Department is also building new space traffic management capabilities. So the regulatory environment is evolving, but it's reactive. It's chasing the problem rather than getting ahead of it.
Which is where an org that's proactively building stewardship into its architecture becomes interesting.
Exactly. And their core principles list on GitHub is worth reading closely. Safety above all, every subsystem is designed with multi-layered safeguards. Transparency and integrity, all mission rules, safety matrices, and operational logic are openly documented. Local first security, systems boot cleanly, run independently, and protect user data with modular integrity.
That local first security piece is interesting because it's the opposite of how most cloud-dependent systems work.
It is, and it connects to their offline and air-gap default in the nano security framework. The idea is that the system should be impenetrable by design, zero trust, dual keys, offline default. You have to actively choose to connect, rather than being connected by default.
Let's talk about the non-appropriative governance piece, because that phrase, non-appropriative, is doing a lot of work here. What does it actually mean in practice?
So, non-appropriation in space law, as defined by UNUSA, means no nation or entity can claim ownership of outer space or celestial bodies. It's one of the foundational principles of the Outer Space Treaty. Space is, in legal terms, the province of all mankind.
And SpaceLeaf is essentially adopting that as an organizational philosophy, not just a legal compliance checkbox.
That's the argument. Their mission statement says exploration must uplift, protect, and educate, never exploit. That's a direct philosophical echo of the Outer Space Treaty's non-appropriation principle. They're not just complying with the law, they're building an organization whose values are structurally aligned with it.
And there's a parallel here to community stewardship models on Earth, right? Like the idea that shared resources shouldn't be privately captured.
Yeah, and this is where it gets philosophically interesting. Community land trust models, which LIS has written about extensively, operate on the principle that land is held in trust for collective benefit rather than private gain. The LIS framework describes community ownership as putting property and power into the hands of people historically deprived of both. SpaceLeaf's stewardship model is applying that same logic to space.
So the commons principle, whether it's urban land or orbital space, is the same underlying idea.
Exactly. And the Sustainability Directory's research on community-driven stewardship models makes the point that successful stewardship correlates with robust social capital and tangible local benefits. When communities are empowered to shape shared resources, outcomes extend beyond the resource itself to include stronger social cohesion. SpaceLeaf's community programs, the eco-stewards, the STEM outreach are building that social capital.
And their advocacy pillar is specifically about amplifying community voices in science policy. So they're not just educating, they're trying to shift who has power in these conversations.
Right. And that connects to a broader tension in space governance that New Space Economy identified. Global space governance is shifting from state-centric monopolies to hybrid ecosystems where national agencies function as enablers for commercial innovation. The question is whether community voices get included in that shift or get left behind.